Let's go ahead and review question 7 and 8, your last two questions. As always, we're going to read the question first. Christensen stopped making furniture and woodwork because. So now that we've done step 1, we can move on to step 2. And in step 2, we are going to circle our keywords. My keywords are stopped, furniture, and woodwork. So it looks like we need to know why Christensen stopped making furniture and woodwork. And we're going to use the 3 keywords we circled to see if we can find those words in our text. So let's go ahead and quickly scan. I see woodworking, I see furniture, I see wood. So it looks like we are in the right section of the text. So now in step 3 that we've come back into the text, we can move on to step 4. And in step 4, we're going to read around the sections we found our keywords in to be able to answer a question. So it says, in the early 1920s, a Danish carpenter named Ole Kirk Christensen owned a woodworking shop where he produced furniture and other things from wood. So this lets us know that he did make furniture and things from wood. Sadly, in 1924, due to the Great Depression, he had fewer customers and had to focus on smaller projects than he was used to making. He began producing miniature versions of his products. It was these small models of ladders and ironing boards that inspired him to make toys. So it looks like he would make furniture, but the Great Depression hit, and then he didn't have customers, and he ended up making toys. So now we know that he stopped making furniture after the Great Depression hit, and when the Great Depression hit, he made toys. So we need to see if we can find that as an answer choice. It says answer choice A says he was depressed. It didn't mention anything about him being depressed in this section. We do see the Great Depression, but not him being depressed and sad. That's not right. Let's look at answer choice B. He began in making and selling toys. We do see that here, that it inspired him to make toys. So that sounds like our answer, but let's look at C and D just to be sure. His ladders and ironing boards were not selling very well. Ooh, this one is a bit of a tricky one because we did read small models of ladders and ironing boards, but that's not what he was selling. He used these as an inspiration to make toys, but he was never actually selling these ladders and ironing boards. So that one there is tricky. And piggy banks, cars, and other toys became more popular. We never actually read about piggy banks, teddy bears, or cars in this section, so that one we can cross off as well. So it looks like Christensen stopped making furniture and woodwork because he began making and selling toys, which we did see in this part of the text. Now let's move on to question 8. The author wrote the selection most likely to, and we're going to do step 2 and circle our keyword. In this question, we need to know why the author wrote this. Now for this question, we can't use our text features to help us find the right answer, but we can use some of our prior knowledge to answer this question. Earlier, we said that the selection was a biography, and a biography is something that is written about a person's life and a person, but it's not written by that person. So someone else decided to write about Ole Christensen's life. And we can also use our gist to remember what this was about. We read that Ole Kirk Christensen created a new kind of toy made out of plastic, and after many years, the plastic blocks became successful. So the author decided to write about Ole Kirk Christensen's life and how after many years the plastic blocks became successful. So we now know that the author chose to write about his life and how long it took for him to create a successful toy. So let's see if we can find one of those details in one of our answer choices. The author wrote the selection to most likely to A, tell the reader about an important historical event. It does mention the Great Depression, which is a historical event, but remember, it's mostly about how he created a new toy. So that doesn't sound right. B, it inspires the reader to become an inventor. Maybe because we did learn about an inventor. We can keep that one off to the side and we can come back to it. C, explain to the reader how to assemble logs. We look back to the story and in our gist, we did not learn how we assemble these blocks. So that one we can cross off right away. And D, inform the reader about the life of an inventor. This is another one that sounds good because this wasn't a biography. So we were learning about the life of Ole Kirk Christensen, and we learned how he made a new toy out of plastic and how it took many years to become successful. So D sounds like a good choice too. Now we need to go between B and D. This one tells us that it's inspiring you to be an inventor. And D tells you to inform the reader. So inspire, as we learned earlier, means to motivate, to make you want to do something. Maybe after you read this, you want to become an inventor and you feel motivated to do the same thing as Ole Kirk Christensen did. However, this passage was not telling you that you need to go out and be an inventor and these are the steps that you need to take. Instead, we learned about his life and the things he did to make the Legos and how he created the Legos. So the author decided to write the selection most likely to inform us about the life of an inventor.